Well, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to our Power 18 call. We have some very amazing guest speakers here today to share their personal story with you. And my name is Mike DiMuccio. I'm a Royal Diamond with Niken. I've been with Niken now almost 28 years. I'm calling in from Toronto, Canada. It is a pleasure for me to introduce to you one of my friends and colleagues who has been with me in Niken since the beginning of my launch of the business back in December of 1991 when we officially got things up and running here in Canada. If you're calling in from wherever you're calling in from and you're just looking at Niken for the first time and you're wondering, is there really an opportunity here? And is it an opportunity that I can really think about in terms of the long term perspective? Well, here I am at 28 years involved with Niken. Here's my colleague Bo Tanis at 20 years, 28 years in Niken. So let's turn our attention to Bo. Bo, are you there? Bo Tanis from Toronto, Canada, 28 years with Niken, a Royal Diamond whose background is music. He was a musician on a professional level and then an entrepreneur. So, Bo, why don't you share your story? Bo, are you there? You need to unmute.
There you go.
There you go.
Thanks, Michael. Hi, everybody. Yes, anybody can do Niken, no matter what your background, whether it's music, corporate, being a parent, a grandmother. We have people from all backgrounds doing Niken. Before I joined Niken, I had done a lot of different things. I had been a musician. When I started raising a family, I wanted to get off the road and have a more stable life. Became an entrepreneur, had successful video stores, two of them. And at which point I thought, wow, I am a hotshot entrepreneur. I opened up a restaurant and then lost everything. And so that was a humbling experience, but it taught me a lot of lessons about business and money, one of which is it's not how much you make, it's how much you keep. And so proper money management is an important thing. Basically, at that point, I had no cash to start a new business with. I became a real estate agent, unfortunately, in a very slow market, but it did lead me to my sponsor, my immediate sponsor, Bruce Black. And that's an interesting story. Mike had introduced Bruce to these great products. He had a great product experience from a sports injury, almost instantaneously, an improvement in flexibility. Um, I'm a real estate agent, but I'm struggling financially. Of course, I don't tell this to my real estate client, Bruce Black, who would lose all respect for me as a real estate agent. But he knew I was looking for something. He knew I had two small children, and I wanted to make a difference in my life. Just from our conversations. He got into Niken on one day, and the next day he told me about it. And he said, Bo, you've got to look at Niken. Join me. We're going to make some real money. Now, here's a retired multimillionaire telling a stressed out single dad with two small children that we're going to make some real money. He had my attention. And it was when I came to a presentation that Mike was holding in his basement, basically, that I realized, this looks really interesting. Products I'd never heard of or seen before, established companies, solid. And I heard people were making great strides with the business, in some cases, great income. So I got involved. I listened to Mike and Dave Johnson and others who were successful in Niken, and they said, create AOMA, all out massive action, to find enough good people who want to do Niken right now. And some people join Niken just to be customers, some just to do it on a very part-time casual basis, but a few out of the many will do that in a serious way. And that's what I wanted to do. I had to make a big difference. So I did that, and within 6 months, I was able to leave real estate, go full-time in Niken. My second year made a six-figure income, and it's grown tremendously since then. A lot of people from all walks of life having better health and better income with our Niken team.
Fantastic. Well, thanks for sharing your story. It's always great to hear your story because I had a little small part in it from I remember when you were course, getting started. I remember when you received your first Niken car on that auto home program and how excited you were when you pulled up to the hotel with that new car. It was just amazing. It seems like it was yesterday. Now, Bo, there's a lot of people who are here listening for the first time, who are going to watch the playback for the first time, and they're wondering, okay, so if I was going to get started today, what do I need to do? And you and I have had some experience at this, but if you had your first 90 days to live over again in Niken, what would you do the same or what would you do differently?
I would do a lot the same because I got very excited. I got some products, started using them and believing in them, got them on a number of family and friends. In fact, I believe their own experiences more than mine. I was wondering if I was being influenced by the great income I was hearing. But when my mother, my kids, and other friends had great product experiences, I realized, okay, this is real. I'm moving forward. I already had some network marketing experience. So when Niken came along, it was a much better opportunity in every respect: product, compensation plan, uh, the legacy and solidity of the company. What I would do is do what I and Mike did, which was create an explosion of activity, a launch. We contacted a lot of people. I contacted 100 people in 100 days, one or two a day on most days, about 100 people, followed up with them within 24 hours if I could. Not everyone was interested, but enough were interested that I found 20 who joined me in Niken, and 5 were serious. But what I would do differently, Mike, is I would do it again the next year and the next year. So you want to launch your business, to find a few who are ready to go now, help them to do the same. But the next year, do that again for yourselves. Create a new launch, or at the very least, sponsor 1 or 2 new people per month after your initial launch, so that within a year you have an extra 20 people. The third year, another 20 people. Out of many, many people, a few champions will identify themselves and really take off.
That's fantastic advice, Bo, because it's advice that I would give myself as well, because we do tend to sort of sit back on our laurels. But the truth of the matter is, I'm actually at my best when I'm engaged in the business at the front end with brand new people, and it gets me excited, and it's a lot more effective when you're on the front lines and you're excited. So I double thumbs up to that, and thanks for your story, and thanks for your legacy and your involvement in Niken. Bo was co-sponsor of the event that we just had here in Toronto called Humans Being More Invitational. It's a great event, and those of you who participated in it, I'm sure you agree it was a fantastic event. Thanks, Bo. Now we're going to move from Toronto, Canada, where Bo's talking to you from, to Mexico City, Mexico. A very dear friend of mine, someone who I've had the opportunity to get to know and work with over the years, last few years, who is a complete dynamo. She is somebody who stands out in a crowd no matter what the crowd is, and certainly in Niken. This is a woman who has been with Niken 8 years. She's a diamond in Niken. She started out as a divorced single mom. That's not a trend here in Niken, but that certainly seems to be a part of the theme of this first 2 speakers. But at that kind of a situation in life, I'm sure you're looking for opportunities. Maybe you're not even aware of it, but Vero took this opportunity, Veronica Ampudia, who we're speaking of, and launched her Niken career. And today she is a very busy, happy married mom, and building a wonderful business internationally. So Veronica, are you there?
Yes. Hi, Mike.
Hi.
Hi, everybody. How are you?
Tell us your story.
Okay. Well, my story is I studied business administration with a major in finance, and I worked for many years in the corporate world. So I was all about corporate organizations. I'm a mother of 3, so I managed to work and be with my kids for many, many years, which was exhausting. So 8 years ago, I decided to quit everything and become an entrepreneur as a consultant. But that was quite difficult to do. It sounded very easy to do, but it was not. And my mother insisted that I should try Niken. And I'm not a very good salesperson. I don't like selling stuff, and I'm not very good with people. So how am I was I supposed to do sales and people business. So she insisted so much that I should listen that I got involved. My first year was quite difficult. I wanted to quit like 2 times every week. I didn't understand the business, but something kept me in track. I knew if I did this properly, I was going to be financially free for the rest of my life. So um, sometimes you have to learn to do things that you don't know, and that's what I did. So um, I started getting to know people, getting to learn from different leaders in the business, and even though I would complain every week and I would struggle every week and I wanted to quit every week, I would keep doing what I was supposed to do. So if you're in a rut or having not such a fun, happy UPA time, just hang in there. You'll be fine. It'll work out for you as long as you stay focused. So why I did this, because I fell in love with the philosophy of the company. The 5 pillars of health and humans being more is really something that I have in me. So I fell in love with that, and I want the freedom that this business provides. So basically, that's it, Mike.
Wonderful. Well, I know you're living a much more productive and carefree life. Not carefree, but I mean, just it's more in alignment with who you are as a person, and you're definitely somebody who's recognized as a leader in the Eakin family in Latin America. Now, you said you had your first year was a little bit of a struggle. So, if you had the first 3 months, let's just narrow it down to, if you were starting today, brand new, knowing what you know now, what would you have done the same, or what would you have done differently?
Okay. Well, there's certain things that I would do the same, because the minute I understood that somebody could pass me, no, that was not going to happen. So I became silver like very quickly. In the first 2 months, I was silver already. I didn't even know how. I just did it. I don't like people like passing me, not even on the road. So I took care of that. So I started fast without understanding the business. I didn't understand the products. I'm analytic, so I thought these were like magic products. But I knew I had to start fast, and I would go to people and say, I'm doing this business. Would you like to join? But what is it about? I don't even know. Just, would you like to join? And to my surprise, they would say yes. Let's do it together. And I'm like, okay. And I would start talking about the products. And I would say, I don't know if this works or not, but would you like to buy it? And they would actually buy it from me. So it was kind of surprising. So that I would just go out there and make a mess with whatever resources you have. It will work out as long as you keep being like yourself. So that I would do the same. And what I would do different is I would look for a mentor like immediately. It took me like a year and a half to look for a mentor. So I spent a lot of time uh, goofing and making mistakes, and having a mentor beforehand would have helped a lot more. I would have stopped doubting and having that mindset of quitting twice a week. That's not very healthy, so please don't do that. I would find a group to work with like immediately. It took me a long time to find a group where I would feel comfortable to work with. So I would look for that group like very, very fast. And I would sit down with myself and make a list of what I'm good doing. doing that, what I'm very good at, and focus on that. And whatever you're not good at, just find your complement with some other people in that group that you're going to work with. So stop struggling of what you don't know and what you are not, and focus on what you can and what you are. And that's it.
Wow, that's brilliant advice, by the way. That's exceptional. That's the making of a great CEO, and you certainly have done that. So, thanks for your input and your contribution this morning. We appreciate having you in this call and certainly in our Nikken family.
Thank you for being here and for inviting me.
All righty. Well, that was Veronica Ampudia from Mexico City, who's been with Nikken 8 years. And now we're going to go to someone who's the most tenured on this call. This is my upline Royal Ambassador Dave Johnson. He's coming to us from Post Falls, Idaho. He's been a Nikken now, Dave, I'm going to guess, but I think it's 30 years. You can correct me if I'm wrong. If you're thinking about a long-term opportunity, they say the lifetime of an opportunity is only as good as the
lifetime of the opportunity.
There you go. That's right. Yeah, the lifetime of the opportunity. So the opportunity of a lifetime is only as good as the lifetime of the opportunity, and 30 years is something to speak about. But here you are, still productive and active in the Nikken business. You're on the front lines after 30 years. I mean, how do you explain that? So tell us your story, Dave.
Well, Mike, I'm really glad to be on the call. One of my favorite thoughts is there is nothing so powerful as an idea whose time has come. And it's fascinating how an idea, a thought, a phone call, listening to something like this can change everything in your life. It changes a whole new direction. And back in my 20s, when I was wondering, what am I going to do with my life? And so much of it is work. If you meet another individual, that's one of the first things you say, well, what do you do? That's how we kind of identify ourselves. And I wanted to originally be an electrical engineer. I joined the Navy so I could get that training and experience. And within just a couple of years, the Navy completely cured me of any love I had for electronics. I'm just thinking, what am I going to do? Because time is moving along. Here's the game. The clock is ticking. What game am I in? Where am I going? And I just thought, wow, what am I going to do? About that time, I was introduced to network marketing. And I believe one of the most important things about network marketing is the education, the personal development. I never even thought of that. Everyone's heard we become what we think about. Well, yeah, but we can actually direct our lives by purposefully putting the right thoughts and thinking about them and actually deciding, well, let's keep thinking about this because I want to go there and it'll change our life. Well, I've tried several different companies, and as you mentioned, the opportunity of a lifetime is only as good as the lifetime of the opportunity. And one of the most heartbreaking, hard things to do is put your love and everything towards a company and go out and build and do that for a few years. And just as it's starting to come, you call them up because your order didn't come, and it goes, this number is no longer available. Just, oh, goodness, and the check didn't come. But I've had that happen several times. Long story short, I thought I'd found it. I was with a company for 8 years. For several of those years, we were full-time. And at that time, we had 9 kids, so that's no idle boast. We were doing pretty good. Not rich or anything, but doing pretty good. And then that fell apart. And one of the things that is so wonderful is autonomy, freedom. Everyone likes to be free and direct their own life. And if you become self-employed, not having a boss except your own, it's really hard to go back and get a job, which I had to do. And it was not, and I didn't just pick any job. Some jobs are more fun than others. I found myself into one of the yuckiest jobs, which gave that contrast even more. I was with a wonderful company doing things I love now. I was just thinking, man, I got to change. This is killing me. And so fundamentally, I started just really praying and looking, and I wanted to wake up in the morning being excited about going to work. I needed to make more money, but I wanted purpose. I wanted to do something that matters. And if you're looking for something, if you're really searching, I was desperate, and I got a phone call. Well, I got a phone call about somebody that I knew that was off chasing a rainbow. So I called to see what it was. he wasn't home, but his wife said Nikken, and I said, what's that? And so I called their sponsor, and I wound up being probably a couple hour conversation. And the more he talked, the more I just loved having all this experience, giving my heart to 5 other companies, 15 years. And I just thought, I found it. Here is something, and all of those wandering around in the wilderness, I just thought there was a purpose in that. I'd learned how to do this. I remember just thinking, I know how to drive if I could just have a car. And somebody had given me a Ferrari now, and oh my goodness. And Charles Ritchie, who was my upline, he knew how to do this, and he had the right heart, everything. And so the best thing I ever did, which I learned from all the other companies, is have a mentor. What a shortcut. And so I just thought, okay, like we all do, everybody that's successful anyway, they launch. They just compress as much energy as they can into a small area of time. This creates what we all love. Momentum is our very best friend. Create momentum where people feel something. There's a thing called FOMO, F-O-M-O, fear of missing out. You want to have lots of that, and you want to just be so excited that you become just this magnet that sucks people into your reality that you're creating. And so everybody I called, I just says, I've just made a career change. This is the best thing I've ever seen. You need to talk to my new business partner and doing 3-way phone calls. If you're not doing 3-way phone calls, you're dumb. Find somebody that's really good, that tells the story well, and have them introduce it to your key people. And then just, you're launching something, putting a team together. And you know, what's so exciting is after all of these years, we all want to be at the right place at the right time. Well, we can actually build a strong case that you and I got in way too soon. It's been okay. we've done well, but this is the time to be in. The new leadership that we have corporate-wise, the enhanced compensation, the new product offering that we have, the packages that we have to launch people with, just everything is such a clear position to be in, all with the best market it's ever been, because wow, here's the healthcare system that in the US has just ballooned into a $3.5 trillion. It's 1/6 of the economy, and it's never made more money than ever before. In fact, I was just looking at this. Wow, isn't this really cool? They're really shoving this down our throat. This is actually a thing you can pull out of a magazine, and it has this, take this test. And of course, this is a resource just for informational, not intended, blah, blah, blah. And then it says, isn't it time you ask your doctor if adding blah, blah, blah. And then of course, all of the side effects. What's wonderful about Nikken is we only have good effects. Side effects, I've never heard of a good side effect. This stuff, you might die. And Nikken, it's just amazing because we got a business, first off, you're not going to die. We've got a strong, well-capitalized, superb business with proven product that everybody needs and nobody has. And it's just a wide open market. The sickest, richest nation that desperately needs a better way. And if you interview billionaires, and one of the fun things to do, you get on YouTube and say, how do you get rich? What you do is you find a way to do something different. And wow, we found a way to do something way, way different. And so we can do it. Oh my goodness. And so, you know, one of the things you can do is as you get older, you can retire, but that's one of the most catastrophic things that you can do. That's dying. The best thing you can do is what I like to refer to as basically your encore career. And my first career with Nikken was so good, I'm choosing that as my new encore career and doing it all over again with the new company. We've done well. You and I have been significant in the early Nikken. I want to be a significant part of this new launch where we will change the world. We are going to change the world. And so, yeah, I'm pretty pumped.
Well, you know, Dave, just listening to you, I'm getting excited. And I remember the first video that I was ever introduced to in Nikken. And one of the thoughts that crossed my mind when I was listening to these presenters or these speakers, they were actually being interviewed on the bullet train in Japan because they had qualified to win a trip to Japan to the Nikken World Convention at the time that was being held in Japan. And I remember listening to their testimonials, their story, their product experiences, and so forth. They were relatively new to the business. And I think you may have even been on that train at that time.
I think I was recording it.
Oh, well, there you go. So that you were probably recording it. So, but what I remember thinking when I was watching this was, you know how you can tell the difference between a paid advertisement, you know, the actors are talking, and it sounds like an act, and it doesn't come across as genuine and real enthusiasm, that real honesty and transparency. And when I'm listening to you right now, knowing that you've been involved with this for 30 years, so you've seen a lot in 30 years. You know, think about what's changed in our world in 30 years. What's become important, what's become less important, what's becoming, you know, critically important, and so forth. And the degree to which you're conveying that enthusiasm that you have, which is this purpose and this passion from within, after 30 years of doing something, it's rare in the world to meet anybody who's done anything for 30 years and they're just as passionate, enthusiastic about it, maybe now even more so than before. That's extraordinary. And you have a legacy already. You have an incredible income story, like beyond incredible. And yet here you are on the front lines, just as eager to be a participant in this next wave is extraordinary. And I think that really speaks to where we're at, where what NECANN really has to offer. Now, before I let you go, one last question. We got 3 minutes. So just a concise answer. You've already shared most of the things that you've done right, that you would do. And you did well to get your NECANN business started, having learned from the previous experiences. Is there anything that you would have done different?
Probably, you know, when you do this and you really care about people, you can just fall in love with people, and you can be thinking, you know, I'm gonna help this person if it kills me. And I almost died a couple of times. You can't want something more than they want it for themselves. I would say that. I've discovered that the hard way. You've got to find people that they're hungry. They want to do it. You can't pull them along. And so if the horse is dead, don't pick it up and say, oh, here, put some oats in their mouth, and go like this, and they're dead. go get a live horse. So I think that would probably be the best thing, is love everyone and give them the chance. And in fact, the horse thing, someone says you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. But you can put some salt in their oats. I've heard that, and that's kind of a fun thing. And so you can follow up, see how things are doing, but don't just really try hard. NECANN is a wonderful business, but it really is a frustrating babysitting service. We're not a nursery. Look for people that have the desire. They're hungry. They love people, and they want to do something. Look for people who are looking for me. As kind of in my mind what I'm always kind of thinking about. And there's a lot of them out there. And if you really want to change the world, you can find a few good ones that already have it together, rather than spending a lot of time pulling people out of the hole. So if you really want to change the world, build a business and build it with great people. And then try to become the kind of person you want to attract. What kind of person, what kind of world would this world be if everyone in it were just like me? And I think about the NECANN business. If I'm productive, if I have customers, if I'm using all of the products myself, it shines out. People can tell. If I'm recruiting people, if I kind of that old thing that we've all heard, go to church. You take your kids to church. You don't send them to church if you want them to go to church. The same thing with a business. How do you lead? By example. You do what you want your people to do. It's a really important thing. So if you're thinking, man, I can't get my group to do anything, well, go get a new group.
Well, that's awesome advice, Dave. Thank you very much. I think that it's probably my challenge as well. We tend to want it more for others than they want it for themselves, and that's a bit of a heartache, because you do have some people like family and friends that you really want this for, but you can't push a rope. Now, I notice you have a bunch of books behind you. I'm pretty sure you've read them all, and that's one of the things that you do encourage as well in terms of developing oneself, become the leader that you want to have in your organization. And I'm an avid reader, as are you, and I think that's
Readers are readers.
Yeah, exactly. Well, folks, That's our call for today. I hope you heard something here that inspires you to take your business to the next level. If you haven't yet registered with NECANN, I hope it inspires you to go ahead and make that decision and then get started on this path. You had some great speakers, some great advice. Thank you, Botanis. Thank you, Veronica Ampudia. And thank you, Dave Johnson, for your input today. We hope to see you on the NECANN Highway soon. And please, if you like this video, share it with others. Take care now.